answered him, Nay, my brother, do not force me. For no such thing ought to be done in Israel. Do not thou this folly.
She was serious about the Lord, too. She told him straight up. She said, don't force me, because this is some folly, and it ought not to be done in Israel. See, they would have allowed certain times, they went around certain things, they could have allowed them to get married. She even going to tell him that, even though the Lord had put a law and basically stopped that, but since they had done it before, you know, when you've done it before, you do it again. Abraham married his own sister. So, even if he was going to do it, he should have went through the proper channels. But what happened? Go ahead.
And she answered him, Nay, my brother, do not force me, for no such thing ought to be done in Israel. Do not thou this folly.
Verse 13.
And whither shall I cause my shame to go? And as for thee, thou shalt be as one of the fools in Israel.
See, she told him, she said, if you do this, where I'm going to cause my shame to go. Because she knew, the Bible said he was so in love with her, but she knew he just wanted one thing. But go ahead.
Now therefore, I pray thee, speak unto the king, for he will not withhold me from thee.
See, now she even told him that. She said, look, if that's the case, just speak to the king. He will let it be done. Go ahead.
Howbeit, he would not hearken unto her voice, but being stronger than she, forced her and lay with her.
See, now she forced him. He forced her. She tried to resist, but he forced himself on her. Then what happened?
Then Amnon hated her exceedingly.
See, that should sound familiar, because you had that a lot. Then he hated her exceedingly. He was so in love with her, couldn't wait to be with her, didn't know what to do. He was so in love with her, couldn't even think straight. And then, as soon as he got what he wanted, he didn't want to have nothing to do with her, which is worse than the first thing he did. See, because once you done laid with somebody, now you done made yourself a deal. So, and she understood that. That's why she said, well, look, don't do it. Just talk to the king. And then once he took it upon himself to force himself, then it said, then Amnon hated her exceedingly, so that what?
So that the hatred wherewith he hated her was greater than the love wherewith he had loved her. And Amnon said unto her, Arise, be gone.
See, that sounds just like a brother, don't it? Arise, be gone. Be gone, woman. But it don't sound like nobody thinking about trying to serve the Lord, but these are people who know about the Lord. She even quoting stuff to him, trying to tell him, look, don't do this folly, right? So now he don't want to have nothing to do with it. And what did she say? She knew better than that. Verse 16.
And she said unto him, there is no cause.
She said there is no cause, because he couldn't even say, well, you wasn't even a virgin, so, you know, I don't have to keep you. He couldn't even lie and say that because she was a virgin. But go ahead, finish 16.
This evil in sending me away is greater than the other that thou didst unto me. But he would not hearken unto her.
See, she said, this is evil. This is worse than the first thing that you done. Because, hey, it wasn't no reason for him not just follow through and be with her, even though that was against the law. But, hey, sometimes you take the lesser of two evils. Since he had forced himself on her. But now, skip down to verse 23. Skip down to verse 23, because this is just some going on in a great house. These people knew God and were trying to serve the Lord. We see some type of foolishness went on in the New Testament too. But go ahead, verse 23.
And it came to pass after 2 full years.
Now 2 years that went by. See, sometimes you think you done something and you got away with it and it's okay. No, that's just, hey, the Lord is patient with getting people. He is patient. So now 2 years that went by after this folly that happened with Ammon and Tamar. Go ahead.
The Absalom had sheep shears in Baal Hazor, which is beside Ephraim.
Go ahead.
And Absalom invited all the king's sons. And Absalom came to the king and said, Behold now, thy servant hath sheep shearers. Let the king, I beseech thee, and his servants go with thy servant.
Okay, he invited all the sons, but now skip down to verse 28. let's see what happened when they got there. All the king's sons. The king didn't come. He figured Absalom, because Absalom was always up to something. But he didn't show up. Go ahead.
Now Absalom had commanded his servants, saying, Mark ye now when Amnon's heart is merry with wine. And when I say unto you, smite Amnon, then kill him. Fear not. Have not I commanded you? Be courageous and be valiant.
See, now these all brothers. Absalom and Amnon is brothers. But see, Absalom is also Tamar's brother, and they actually had the same mother. So he was upset on what the guy did, what his other brother did to his sister. He was upset about that, but he patiently waited. See, and he had his issues, and the Lord had to deal with Absalom. That shows you the Lord to use anybody to do what he needs. Like he used Satan to do people in. So that's what he used. And he using Absalom because he got somebody for everybody. He using Absalom to deal with Amnon. Because Amnon shouldn't have did what he did. Because even if you didn't intend to be married, once you lay with somebody, you didn't already made your bed then. So you might as well send the bad news home. Instead of being like Amnon, now Amnon talking about he hate her. I can't stand her. I can't get out of here, woman. Look, it's amazing you wasn't saying that a few minutes ago. Couldn't even wait to get over there. But now, so it said here, verse 28, Absalom had commanded his servants, saying, Mark ye now when Amnon's heart is merry with wine, and smite him. When I tell you to smite him, and don't worry about it, because he was a king's son, so they would have been a little leery. But Absalom said, look, I'm the one telling you to do this. I'm a king's son too. Verse 29.
And the servants of Absalom did unto Amnon as Absalom had commanded. Then all the king's sons arose, and every man got him upon his mule and fled.
See, now, because all the king's sons was there. So they didn't know, none of them didn't know what was going to go on, but Absalom set this up to kill Amnon. And show you how bad word, we ain't going to read the rest of this. Matter of fact, let's go to Exodus 32. But show you how word traveled the wrong way. When the word got back to King David, the word was that Absalom had killed all his sons. David, he think all his sons dead right away. He ripped his clothes off in there. You can read the rest on your own. He ripped his clothes off, everything. But Jonadab, who know everything, the one that got Amnon killed, telling them what to do with Tamar, he come up and said, no. All the king's sons not dead, just Amnon. He the one got the boy killed. Telling them to do that stuff. But now, Exodus 32. So, but Paul was letting us know you got all kinds in a great house. And you got some people that will make honest mistakes. 32:1. Exodus 32:1. This after Israel came out of Egypt. Moses went to get instructions from the Lord, and they have lost their mind. 32:1. Go ahead.
And when the people saw that Moses delayed to come down out of the mount, the people gathered themselves together unto Aaron and said unto him, Up, make us gods, who shall go before us.
How you going to make your own gods? But that's what they said. Up, make us gods that can go before us. Go ahead.
For as for this Moses, the man that brought us up out of the land of Egypt, we wot not what is become of him.
So they said, we don't know what happened to Moses, but we need us some gods that can lead us. Israel always been trying to serve God their own way. Make God in their own image. Go ahead, verse 2. Aaron going to go along with the foolishness too. Go ahead.
And Aaron said unto them, Break off the golden earrings which are in the ears of your wives, of your sons, and of your daughters, and bring them unto me. See, they had earrings. They had all that gold they got from the Egyptians. The Lord blessed them with this gold. They got gold everywhere. Gold earrings on. The kids got on gold. So he said, well, break off some of that gold. We can do something. Go ahead, verse 3. And all the people break off the golden earrings that were in their ears.
They broke off some of that gold. You see, Israel will do anything for a false god, won't they? They come up with gold and silver. So he said, and all the people break off the golden earrings which were in their ears. Go ahead.
And he received them at their hands. And fashioned it with the graven tool after he had made it a golden calf. A molten calf. And they said, these be thy gods, O Israel, which brought thee up out of the land of Egypt.
Now they said, these be your gods. You just made them on the spot. How the heck this bring you out of Egypt and you just made it a few minutes ago? And you came out of Egypt a year ago. That shows you how people will go for anything. And they start having a party to celebrate their God. See, that's what people think in the average church. Just because they dancing and shouting and having a good time, that don't mean you honoring the right God. They doing the same thing. They done gave you an image and said, these be your gods. Come on, let's party. Go ahead.
And when Aaron saw it, he built an altar before it.
Now, just because you got an altar at your church and the preacher tell you to come to the altar don't mean it's good, right? Go ahead.
And Aaron made proclamation and said, tomorrow is a feast to the Lord.
See, and now they're going to have a feast. They're going to honor this God that they just made. Aaron got all into it. Then he tried to blame the people, but he did what the people told him to do, though. Go ahead, verse 6.
And they rose up early on the morrow and offered burnt offerings and brought peace offerings.
Oh, they offering to this God. See, people offer to false gods all day long, and they don't have a second thought about it. They think it's okay. They're going to be doing that tomorrow. They're going to get up tomorrow morning, early in the morning, and they're going to make offerings to a false god tomorrow on the first day of the week. They're going to make peace offerings and all kind of offerings to them. Go ahead.
And they rose up early on the morrow and offered burnt offerings and brought peace offerings, and the people sat down to eat and to drink and to rose up and play.
See, and then they sat down to eat and drink, and they rose up to play. They just having a good time. Like Brother Nashan in Florida, he found a video of the big church in Atlanta, who the preacher just got himself in some trouble. He found a video of that church. They in there, they rose up to play in there. Nothing but a party fest. I mean, he ain't preaching nothing. He just talking about, yeah. And everybody say, yeah. I mean, I'm talking about they partying big time. And Nashan posted it up on Facebook. He said, this probably what Israel was doing when they had that golden calf. It probably was. Because, I mean, I'm talking about this going on. I'm talking about there's thousands in this church, and they all doing this. Going behind the preacher say, yeah, yeah. And then they got a thing, cross it up. I'm talking about they doing this through the whole service. This is what the service, something about to break loose. He created a new dance. And he got seemed like some legitimate rappers or something back there working with him. You know, he say it, then they say it. They was having a good time. But Israel was having a good time right here. This is what happened in the great house, though. He said in verse 6, read that again.
And they rose up early on the morrow and offered burnt offerings and brought peace offerings. And the people sat down to eat and to drink and rose up to play.
See, they having a good time because you can do whatever you want to do when you got a false god. Go ahead, verse 7.
And the Lord said unto Moses, go, get thee down. For thy people which thou broughtest up out of the land of Egypt have corrupted themselves.
See, now the Lord didn't like that. And Moses had to bear the responsibility. The Lord put it on Moses. He up there talking to Moses. Moses ain't got nothing to do with it. The Lord said, Moses, you better get you down there. For thy people, he put the people on Moses. He said, your people messing up, Moses. The people that you brought, you know them people you brought out of Egypt? They tripping. They have corrupted themselves. Verse 8.
They have turned aside quickly out of the way which I commanded them.
They